Hello everybody, my name is Philip. Welcome back to the channel. And yes, before we start, I have seen your comments. And we're going to talk about those, and then we're going to talk about the fact some things I really think people need to understand when it comes to not only the Edge of Fate, but some of the other stuff in Destiny, just in general. So one thing I do want to say here is... Hold up. Sorry, I'm looking at all the bright dust stuff. This is before reset. I'm making this before reset because I'm gonna probably try to either live stream or something while the stream is active for the armor preview or whatever they're doing today. But yeah, let's talk about some of these comments first, and then we'll move into the rest of this. If you guys don't know, I make videos that are not like scripted. They're not like randomly edited or jump cut to make myself look better. It's just me rambling off into a camera. Even though there's no camera here, it's just a microphone and me recording my screen. So let's talk about this. So a few of them, like, I do kind of agree with it. So like this one saying that calling it soft sunsetting is fair to a degree, but a lot of people just boil it down to sunsetting, and that's what I was commenting on. The people, like, I don't think people clock that. I think they just said, I just said something about, you know, using the word sunsetting sucks, which it does because it brings back a lot of people's thoughts about, well, the old way of sunsetting, right? And that's what like people think of, but it's not really how it gonna work, right? Which, by the way, if you guys want to know what the old way of sunsetting was, it was they got rid of all the destinations and then they made it so then I believe it was 1900 power. They made it so then a weapon or piece of equipment couldn't be leveled above that like range, right? And I have yet to see anything saying that you can't do that with Edge of Fate. So yeah, I think soft sunsetting is a better term for it. But just saying sunsetting, I think is just, well, off the mark by quite a bit. Anyway, side note, I can't stand people calling this D3. That's not even close to right for multiple reasons, at least of which is the fact that they aren't dropping old gen consoles. Not saying they should drop them for D2, saying that would be a big need for D3 to be able to take steps forward from D2. I agree with this comment. I'm sorry, while yes, we are getting a loot refresh in Edge of Fate, it is not to be considered as a Destiny 3. Just because they're revamping the loot model doesn't mean, well, it's a brand new game. Because a lot of games do revamp their loot models. I mean, look at something like Path of Exile, where they bring in a brand new way of getting loot and refresh kind of like how loot works. It doesn't mean that they're magically Path of Exile 2. Even though, yes, I know Path of Exile 2 exists. I'm just making a little bit of a point. It's just a like loot refresh, like, or like a different way of doing loot, right? So yes, this is not considered Destiny 3, and I don't think I'd ever consider it Destiny 3. And I do agree with the previous gen consoles. I'm sorry, Destiny 1 and 2 both fell for the same mistake, where they tried to hold on to previous gen consoles for way too long, to the point where it started becoming the reason why they couldn't upgrade different systems, because those consoles basically made it virtually impossible to do those upgrades, including like graphical upgrades. So yeah, with Destiny, like, if there is ever a Destiny 3, I hope they just do the current gen of consoles, or like current gen in PC, and leave it at that, because falling for the trap 3 times would suck. But yeah, I do agree. I do heavily agree with the Destiny 3 comment, though. I don't know why, and I know who did it, and it's a lot of the content creators keep saying it, and it's like, no, stop saying that it's Destiny 3. It is not a Destiny 3 update. Like, it is a new armor system and a new like weapon loot system and some other changes, but is nowhere near what we would consider a Destiny 3 at this point. Mind you, it's a good step in changing some of the stuff that, you know, people have been asking for, but yeah, it's not Destiny 3. Next comment. This person got mad because I said, which is not sunsetting, by the way. Okay, let me put it this way. No one will be using tier 3 weapons once you get tier 4 and 5. Yeah, that's just factually kind of wrong. Here's the problem, right? I'm sorry, but with the current meta, I'd probably be running this because it gives Scorch like what you run towards like the end. Mind you, we're talking end game of the new like meta, right? What you'd be running a majority of the time would still be very similar to the weapons you're running now. So saying, well, no one will be using tier 3 weapons once you get tier 4 and 5 is just fucking wrong. Because I hate to break it to you, there are so many roles that people absolutely love that they will still continue to use because they're able to still use it in the Edge of Fate. The only people who are obsessed over tier 4s and 5s are people who are trying to, as I like to put it, min-max everything. And I'm not here to magically min-max. I'm just saying what a casual player is gonna like actually run into, or like a normal player of Destiny, not somebody who's obsessed with like, oh, I need to get this like 10% more damage, right? For normal players of Destiny, they're gonna be able to use their like tier 3 weapons in endgame. Like, well, yes, tier 4s and 5s are an improvement. It's how literal progression works. And if we're gonna get upset over having a progressive path that gives you a better weapon for doing better things, then why are we playing looter games? That's like saying, hey guys, yeah, I just got a promotion at my work, and then being mad because you have to do more stuff because you're a higher position at your work. Like, makes no sense, right? But yeah, you got upset over the fact that I said, which is not sunsetting, because I literally the example I used was the fact that people are trying to say that this update is sunsetting, but it's not. Fundamentally, sunsetting made it virtually impossible for you to use old weapons because you could not infuse them up to the power required to play endgame content. There is no magic cap that's stopping you from infusing the power up to the new cap in the Edge of Fate. There is no magic wall. The only thing that people are going by is the fact that there's a tier system, and to be honest with you, I think the perks and stuff like are going to be available for most tiers. The only thing that makes tier 4 and 5 better is it's supposed to be endgame content, which is making like enhanced versions of perks and stuff like that, which is stuff you would have seen in crafting anyway. So again, I don't think it's gonna like be a, oh well, you can only use tier 5s. Like, you should be able to use tier 3s in the end game of the actual game. But people don't look at it that way. They only look at, you know, oh well, this thing has more enhanced perks, which means it's only gonna be, it's the only thing that's gonna be good, right? Yeah, it's dumb. It's a really dumb way to look at it, where you only see, oh well, this has all the enhanced things, so that means it's the only thing viable. Yet people have been using, you know, how many different like things ever since things got unsunset from back in the day, as endgame viable. So honestly, I don't trust this like viewpoint of only tier 4s and 5s being good at the game and like used in endgame. But that's me. I usually don't like doing meta most of the time. Mostly because I think a lot of the people who stick to the meta in this game like super hard are egotistical assholes who think that everybody needs to do what they're doing, or else they're never going to be the best at the game, and it's like, I do not care. So yeah. Shout out to 21 No Savage 60 and Shadow Gamer 700. Thank you for the awesome comments. One saying finally someone who actually reads the information that Bungie provides. And then Shadow saying, been waiting for this one. Love your take on this, bro. And of course, I replied to both of them. No Savage also did a reply, said, I'm tired of big content creators pushing their narrative, and that instead of players reading and interpreting for themselves, which it's clear as day that they are ready to burn Bungie at the stake. Yeah, so there's two instances that I talk about when I like see that like people are always trying to burn Bungie at the stake. Mind you, Bungie does some dumb shit like, you know, stealing art assets over and over because they're idiots, and they apparently can't make art for themselves. Not everybody at Bungie though. I'm gonna put that out there. I hate when people generalize Bungie as a single entity rather than, you know, who are really making those decisions, which is the person who stole the art and the higher ups that you chose to use it. Because then you start grouping the people who are actually, you know, putting in the work to give us this stuff, like that we find cool, and basically deteriorating from their work because you're upset over another person stealing. And yeah. But yeah, but the two examples I usually use is like the Renegades reveal. Magically, people got uber pissed off at that, even though it's like, oh no, I'm putting sci-fi in a sci-fi game. And I hold the view, and it's my own view, that if you get mad over the like Star Wars-esque story, but then you were okay with the 35th anniversary having a bunch of, you know, Halo stuff, I find it hypocritical. Mind you, I get it, it's the difference between like, you know, a like game show and a whole DLC, but again, you gotta realize there's so many things that that's setting up for that we already have in the game. Like, for example, it's supposed to be like some sort of like bounty hunting kind of game or DLC, and you gotta remember, we already have a black market. Did we just forget Season of the Hunt existed and that Spider has a black market? Spider is literally our version of Jabba the Hutt. Like, so yeah, I don't know. It fits within the Destiny universe. I'm not gonna sit there and complain about it because I don't like understand it. It was supposed to be like a small reveal to get people to be hyped, and people just hated on it because Star Wars, literally. Yeah, literally that. And to the people saying, oh, well, it's turning into Fortnite, last time I checked, they're not adding Peter Griffin or Bob from Bob's Burgers into Destiny or Adventure Time. It's mostly been sci-fi stuff or things with, like, ghost shells and armor pieces. So, like, I don't know. Say it's Fortnite is a really big stretch, to be honest. Since Fortnite literally makes their entire stories basically just another retelling of what the original said. But yeah, I get tired of that. The whole dungeon thing was also kind of stupid to me as well. Everybody's like, well, I thought we were getting a dungeon every week, and I'm like, they never specifically said that. Like, people just assume and think that that's what Bungie said, and it's like, your assumption does not equal fact. Like, and the fact of the matter is like, let's be honest here. The outcome, like, was the same either way it went. They did one, like, it rotating every week. Like, after the third week, people would complain that there's nothing to do. Whereas, with this same, like, schedule, even with 3 weeks or 2 weeks, it still ends the same way, which is people complain because there's nothing to do, right? So it's just one of those things, like, I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get what people were so upset about. I don't get why people get so upset over dumb things like dungeon schedules, right? And especially over Ghosts of the Deep. Like, come on. Ghosts of the Deep is a pain in the ass as it is. Mind you, story is great. Ghosts of the Deep, like gameplay wise is a pain in the ass. But yeah, I'm not gonna knock on its like story implications either. Yeah. So another thing I want to throw out here is something I've been thinking about ever since they revealed the exotic changes, which I'm kind of excited for some of the Titan exotic changes. But I'm gonna throw this out here because I think a lot of people carry this opinion. Just because your class gets a nerf does not mean they are favoring other classes. And what I mean specifically by this, and I do this more as a meme, is in my group chats, I'll be like, oh, well, look at them favoring the hunter class again. It's a meme. Like, deep down, it's a meme. I know it's a meme. Every single class has gotten some sort of nerf in those exotic changes. Like, mind you, someone will probably argue, but the magnitudes are different, but it's like, they're still getting buffs and nerfs. And we also don't know, like, a lot of the, like, ability changes or things like that going into Edge of Fate yet, so like we don't know if like them changing it makes sense or not. Like I know there are some of them that kind of make you scratch your head, and I think there's especially with like hunters, there are some of them that make you scratch your head. But it's weird because like I see one report of people being upset that the hunter smoke bomb thing doesn't like give you extra smoke bombs or whatever. And then on the other hand, like I see some like content creator being like, this is going to be the greatest thing ever for hunters. We're going to be doing so much. And it's like, okay, make up my mind. Is it bad? Is it good? Somebody pick a side. You know? But no, every single time this gets brought up, people always complain about one class or another. And to be honest with you, at the end of the day, they all get hit with buffs and nerfs. It doesn't really matter. Like, have there been times where like certain classes are like the centerpiece? Of course there has been. Like there's always been a time where like one class has better like just verbs slash things to do, like things that are going on. I mean, look at the whole like Titan identity crisis that happened, because like, and that happened mostly because, well, yes, Titans did still have viable builds. At the end of the day, people were upset more or less because a lot of the Titans' identity was being delegated to every other class, right? And it's happened not only to Titans, it's happened to every single other class. Like, there's, like, evasiveness, right? That, like, I mean, Getaway Artist exists, and you think of evasiveness, you'd think of Hunters, but that's Warlock stuff, right? Or like Warlock stuff with like healing and everything like that has been given to Titans as well. It happens eventually that like something's gonna like feel like you're getting, like your class is getting nerfed into the ground and this other class is benefiting. It happens every single time. Like, I don't think realistically I could say that there's a favorite. Like, yeah, people could obviously point to the fact that like some of them are hunter mains, right? And it's like, oh well, that's their favorite. And it's like, I don't know about that, because there's been quite a few hunter nerfs that have also like been pretty impactful. We'll have to wait and see what like ability stuff happens and everything else, see how well that goes along. But yeah, I don't think there's really any like, I chalk it up to conspiracy theories. That's what I think. Is it's a conspiracy theory that the hunters are the favorite, and it's like, but I really couldn't tell you like any proof for sure that that actually happens. And to be honest with you, I think all of them get nerfed like all the time. Mind you, I will say that there are some times where Bungie needs to stop fucking nerfing things that are fun and just let people have fun. Like, I'm sorry, but like some of the like nerfs that they've done in the past little bit, like when Ignitions got full on nerfed, like with how it functions, I think that was kind of BS, because it all started from fucking Ranix as the like dungeon boss, right? So again, it's just one of those things. I think at the end of the day, everything's gonna get nerfed at some point when it functions more than it's supposed to. Another thing is that, like, I'm surprised more people aren't excited about the guns that Bungie unveiled. Like, you're telling me that they're giving us a goddamn hand cannon shotgun? Like, or the fact that there is a pulse missile frame? Like, you gotta be shitting me. Like, so yeah, I'm excited for today's stream. Hopefully they show some really cool stuff that's actually really good instead of like weird like bits and pieces that don't make sense. Because like I feel like the last twabs and stuff, and when we got stuff revealed, well, yes, some of it did go in depth of like, oh, this is how like you're gonna earn stuff. I feel like, I don't know, I wish it was more like some of it was more in depth than, hey guys, yeah, we have some set bonuses, but we can't tell you the rest of them. Or like how there's been like armor and stuff like that, and it feels like they have framework of like build crafting, but it still very much seems like, I don't know, based on what I've seen, it seems like they have the framework, but I don't know how they're gonna fully push it into the like, hey, this is the build I'm gonna use, right? And how much the artifact's gonna like just make or break builds. But we'll have to see when the stream comes out. I'm gonna try to go live during that and see what happens. See if my internet completely shits itself or something. But I don't know. Anyway, that's gonna be it for me today. I just figured I'd come on here and talk about some comments and then also talk about some stuff as well. If you guys did like the video, as always, hit the like button, comment down below. What do you think needs to change for Destiny 3 to be officially called like a true sequel to Destiny? Let me know down in the comments below. My honest opinion is honestly a revamp to all of the social systems. Like, we should be doing more stuff with clans, we should be doing more stuff with friends, rather than it being like, hey, you need to play this mode with friends. More like giving bonuses for playing with friends, giving bonuses, more stuff for doing stuff with clans. That's my honest opinion. But yeah, let me know one thing you'd like to see in a Destiny 3 if it were to happen. And as always, don't forget to subscribe and turn on push notifications so then you guys will know when I go live later during the live stream. Anyway, with that being said, I hope you guys have a good day. Stay safe out there, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.